we'll call to order the City of Douglasville's City Council Legislative Work Session for Thursday, June 16th. Our invocation will be done by the Reverend James Harper of First Presbyterian Church of Douglasville, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by the Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Larry Yockey. Please come forward, my friend, Rotarian friend, Pastor Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to pray for y'all. Let's pray. Great and glorious God, we give you thanks and praise that in all matters we can trust that your providential hand guides us and directs us, and we ask that you would watch over this council meeting tonight. We pray that your spirit would be present, that your wisdom would be abundant, and that you would guide these elected leaders of our community for whom we are grateful. We thank you for all the staff that undergird all the work that goes on at this city. We pray that you would sustain them, and we ask that you would give them all the energy and resources they need to do their work well. We are grateful for this community. We're grateful for the chance to live in community with one another, and pray that you would cause us to be knit together more and more every day. And we continue to pray for Orlando and lift them up to you and ask that you would be present to them and to comfort them and to give them the wisdom and be able to move through these days and understand what steps to take and where to go next. We know that if that happened in our community, it would be a hard experience, and so we are sympathetic and just pray that you would bring your love to bear and continue to raise up people who have done the tremendous things that they've done in these days past. And we pray all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us into in the Pledge of Allegiance, and to Pastor Harper for that heartfelt invocation. We'll move on to announcements and presentations, and at this time, I would ask that you please silence your cell phones, all your electronic devices, and if you would like to give comments to the council, mayor and council, that you would first have signed a form that's presented to you outside the table, and fill that form out with your name and address, turn it in to the city clerk. To my right, Ms. Vicki Acker, and then when you come to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and then you're welcome to give a statement. And please refrain from any public attacks on any council or staff members. Okay, we'll move on to the first committee, which is Public Safety Committee. The chairman for that is Councilman Mayor Pro Tem Yockey.
Yes, I have one item, and it's to adopt an ordinance repealing the existing City of Douglasville animals ordinance and adopting a new animals ordinance consistent with the city of that of the Douglas County. Could we have?
Mr. Chairman, in committee, we talked about 4 changes of substance that will make us a little bit more consistent with Douglas County's ordinance, and we decided to make 2 of those 4. I'll have a new draft for you tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, and that's all I have for public safety.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Community and Economic Development Committee. The chairman for that is Councilman Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 2 items tonight under Community and Economic Development. One is to adopt a resolution in support of the City of Douglasville's Independence Day activities to be held on July 4th, 2016 in the City of Douglasville. Mr. Lynn, are you going to help us with that, sir?
Yes, sir. This is just the resolution recognizing that we are coming up on the 4th of July activities. As per usual, the city will be sponsoring the parade, the 4th of July parade on Monday, July the 4th. The parade will begin at 10 o'clock, take its normal route down Church Street, ending at Rose Avenue. There will be no festivities at Hunter Park this year after the parade. The only other festivity the city will be sponsoring that will be the fireworks that night. Just to encourage the public, the best place to view the fireworks will be at Arbor Place Mall. Tentatively, I'd like to see 9 p.m., but it's all going to depend on when it really does get dark for the best viewing of the fireworks. In addition, the 23rd annual Horseshoe Tournament will take place at Jesse Davis Park on Saturday, July the 2nd at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council or public concerning that? Yes.
Any council members entering that Horseshoes tournament?
No.
We'll have to work on that for next year then.
And I would like to add that we also, as of this afternoon, we do have 37 entrants already signed up for the parade, which is pretty good. Normally, it's a last minute kind of thing, but we do have 37 signed up so far.
What about any plan for council or mayor and council as far as the parade route or being a part of the parade? Can anyone help us with that?
Yes, sir. In your email on Friday, I will be asking who all will be interested in riding the fire truck, or who will be riding individually. Mr. Roberts will happily take you along on the fire truck if you're interested.
Thank you.
How much room is on that fire truck?
Plenty.
You hang on,
Standing room only.
you
Show-
hang
show-
on the outside of it, okay?
Show up to find out.
Depends upon how early you get there. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Lynn. Any public question or comment concerning that item? Okay, if not, we'll move on then to item B. Adopt a resolution for a time-limited, performance-based ad valorem tax, property tax incentive for the benefit of Keehee Distributors LLC, and authorize the mayor to sign the necessary agreements and documents.
Councilman Adams, I would like to ask Chris Pumphrey, Executive Director of the Douglas County Development Authority, to come forward to give you a little bit of background on this item before you hear more details from our attorney, John Grinnell, with AGL.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hampton. Good afternoon, Mr. Pumphrey. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How about you all?
Great, thanks. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure.
Thank you.
Chris Pumphrey, Douglas County Economic Development Authority, 8512 Boughton Street, Douglasville, Georgia.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having us here this evening. Keehee Foods was first brought to us as Project Pantry back in late of 2014, early 2015. The company was looking to site a new healthy foods distribution facility. That's the company's primary business, is they provide healthy foods. One of their main customers is Sprouts, if you're familiar with the new Sprouts stores that are popping up all over the metro region. They're a huge provider of Sprouts. They're based just outside of Chicago. Over 4,500 employees company-wide, 17 distribution facilities as well. They approached us, like I said, at that time period to site a new distribution facility. They were looking in the metro area, as well as looking at, possibly maybe a South Carolina location. So they were looking at Douglas County and maybe 2 or 3 other communities in the metro region. We took the opportunity to introduce them. They had a number of questions about planning and zoning and building and permits and what have you. So we introduced them to all of the necessary officials here early last year. And as they continue to work through the different site options, I worked closely with the appropriate parties in the city at that point in time, Assistant City Manager Marcia Hampton. And we submitted a letter recommending that be on a tax incentive plan per the approval of the City Council. Later on that year, they submitted an application to be on the tax incentive plan, basically saying they wanted to come to Douglasville. So that, in essence, is kind of our exposure with the project, and that's what's being presented to you today, is that incentive plan. And Mr. Grinnell has some more details on that, but I'll take any questions.
Any questions of council for
Yes, sir.
Pumphrey?
Mr. Pumphrey, the plan, well, let me back up. They don't actually own the building and the land, is that correct? It's just the personal property that they would be seeking the tax incentive on?
So they're working with a developer for that, which is common amongst most of the projects in our area. Not many of them are actually owned by the company, but they work with a developer for their sites. There's a handful that are owner-occupied, but a number of them are developer-built and then occupied by another company.
So then only the personal property is covered by the incentive, is that correct? No.
They will be the only tenant. There's no other. The building is built for them.
Right.
So it's the real property is a part of that. So
Including the land and all that, because right now, Scannell Properties is building it for them, and
we'll lease it to them.
we'll lease it to them. And unless it transfers to the Development Authority, correct?
It would still be a lease. There would still be a lease to the company. Just the Development Authority will hold title to it, and then I guess would be leasing it back to Scannell, who therefore is leasing it to KE.
Not
it's
complex or anything.
Well, I mean, if you take actually down the road from there, the name Coloplast is the same exact scenario. IDI owns the building, Coloplast is the tenant.
So this is not out of the ordinary then
Not at all.
for this type request?
Very, very common.
Okay.
And Scannell actually builds facilities for Keehee basically wherever they are. They've got that kind of relationship. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm not really that familiar enough with Scannell. Most of the interaction has just been with KE.
And what I'm thinking is, because that's my understanding, they're building it for Keehee as per their relationship, and Keehee plans to move in whether they get this incentive or not, because it's being built for them, built to suit for them. That's the way I read it. I'm not asking you to comment on that, but that's the way I see it, is whether or not they get the incentive, they're probably moving in. And, you know, any new business coming in, they're going to want to see what kind of incentives they can get. It's up to us to decide whether or not they need that incentive in order to actually, you know, come to our community. They're a very good company, employee-owned, I believe, and well-respected. So that's all I have to say on that for now.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Pumphrey? Okay. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
you being here, and thanks for all your hard work.
Glad to be here.
Well, I guess I'm here to answer tough questions. My name is John Gornell. I'm a partner with Arnold Gold and Gregory, an Atlanta and Washington, D.C. based law firm. I've been representing development authorities, companies, counties, and cities in economic development for over 30 years. I guess you probably figured that out by just looking at me. To your question, let me just jump right in there. It is typical for when you have a developer project that's the lease that it would have otherwise been between the developer and the company becomes a sublease. So the property is transferred to the development authority leases it to the developer owner, who then subleases it to, in this case, KE. So in my part of the world, a routine transaction. So as you know, the city developed a time-limited, performance-based property tax incentive program in 2013. The plan assigns points based on investment, the number of new jobs created, and the average wages. And those points are all driven through a schedule, computer program, if you will, which produces the number of years and the property tax abatement. The property tax abatement diminishes over time. The maximum, in most instances, is 10 years. The maximum is 10 years if they do a couple of things, i.e. hiring lots of people who happen to live in the city. Then they get an additional 2 years of property tax abatement. I think it's important to note that not only is this time limited, but it's performance based. What do I mean by performance based? I mean that the same factors that were utilized to determine what kind of property tax abatement is available under the plan are used to determine performance. So you basically average those three factors, and if they don't add up to 80% of what they promised in any tax year, then the company has to, in essence, refund, write a check for the extent to which they didn't perform. So let's say they only performed at 75%. They have already received a property tax benefit for the prior year. They have to go back and write a check for 25%
of the property tax savings they had to match up with the fact that they didn't perform by, if you want to say that, 25%. So the city's, in my experience, the city's tax plan is one of the best at being very specific. It is driven by the factors. It basically says, if you do X, we'll do Y. And it has a very strong set of criteria for performance. And my experience in Douglas County and Douglasville is that the performance standards are enforced, and people who do not perform get to write checks to refund some of the benefit they received to which they were not entitled.
Thank you very much. That helps a lot. Questions of council?
Again? So I believe the number I saw in the agreement was 30% of the employees would be from Douglas County.
That's the number in the tax plan, and what that gets them, some people could say it doesn't get them a whole lot. What it does is, in the schedule which the points dictate for KHE, in the last 2 years of their, or the last year of the 10-year normal schedule, they would receive, well, they'd be paying taxes at 80% of normal. If they meet that employment in the city requirement, then they get 2 more years at either they're paying 80% or they're getting a reduction of 20%.
And the average hourly wage would be $24.
$24, yes, which I think we all had a question mark at $24 average hourly wage for a distribution facility, but apparently.
Well, it's an average.
That's what
You'll
they
have
agreed
some
to,
paid
and
less,
that's
some
what they
paid more.
committed to, so that's what they'll be held to.
We're looking at a total of, or at most, $31 million, the value of the project.
I'm sorry, and create 45 new jobs, new full-time jobs, and they're transferring, they've said they're transferring over 100 jobs, but in the awarding of points, they were given no points for the transferred jobs. In other words, the only points they received was for the 45 new full-time jobs.
So their qualification and our approval would be based on only the 45 new jobs, not on the total of 145 employees here.
Well, that's what drove the tax plan. That's a question for y'all, do you want to have some requirement about the transferred jobs? If I were the company, I'd respond, well, I didn't get any credit on the points for the transferred jobs. So the other thing we'll have to sort out is in the documents is, okay, what's transferred and what's not. I think the easiest way, we're just going to say, you said you were transferring X number of people from your existing facility to this facility, so you've got to meet that number. We only start counting toward the 25 when you've met that number.
Toward the 45.
Yeah, because keeping track of who's a new hire and who's not a new hire could get to be a little difficult for the development authority. So.
And these are transfers from Kennesaw?
Kennesaw, yes. A much smaller facility, I think.
Do you see anything out of the ordinary? You said that you deal with municipalities and counties in other areas also. Is this in any way out of the norm for what a county or a municipality would negotiate? You said that our standards seem to be.
It's not, and it's to me it's much more thoughtful because you're awarding points, and it's a number of jurisdictions have sort of one size fits all. You just you chop off the legs, you chop off the arms, and you stick them in the bed, and amazingly they fit. So it's a Greek legend. Anyway, so yours is you award the points. It's pretty process and method driven, and you get the points, you don't get the points, and it's all based on performance. I'm a big fan of it. I participated a little bit in its development, but If, you know, given the client confidences, I don't hand it out, but when people say, you know, what's a pretty well thought out system, I'd say, well, you might go talk to the folks in Douglasville, and you know, the counties is almost verbatim the same. I mean, with, you know, it's, so we try to coordinate them. So.
Okay. Any other questions about public comment? Okay. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you and appreciate your help with that. This is an item that we would have on the agenda for Monday night. Is that correct? All right. I appreciate that, Ms. Marcia. I have no other items under Community and Economic Development. Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Planning and Development Committee, and the chairman for that is also Councilman Adams.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight. Authorize the purchase of a Toro Greens Pro 1240 greens roller for the use of City of Douglasville's West Pine Golf Course at a cost not to exceed $11,384.75 from the West Pines Maintenance Machinery line item in the current year's budget, and authorize the mayor to sign a proposal with Jerry Pate Turf and Irrigation, Inc. for this purchase. And we talked about this in committee tonight, and would like to have Chuck and Chris come forward. And does Mayor or Council have any further questions about this tonight?
Maybe for our audience, could you explain exactly what this machine's going to do for us?
Yeah,
Give your name and address, please, for the record.
Chuck Holmes, 679 Rosedale Drive, Smyrna, Georgia. The greens roller is to smooth out the putting surface, to make a better putting surface. Also, it helps alleviate stress during the summer months in lieu of mowing. We mow the greens daily, so a couple times a week we could roll the greens, just to help the greens out to get through the summertime.
Okay. Any comments from the from any citizens that are here tonight?
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to, another comment, if I would ask Mr. Cartwright, please give your name and address for the record and give us an update, the viewing audience that you had given to Mayor and Council during committee meetings about West Pines and the status right now for play.
Absolutely. Chris Cartwright, 159 Sinyard Circle, Hiram, Georgia. Just to update everyone on the business at the golf course. Business has been very good this year. We have already exceeded last fiscal year's revenue by $40,000. By the end of this month, we should exceed our revenue goal for the year by $10,000 to $15,000. That's because play is up about 6%. Last year we did 26,500 rounds. This year we'll do about 28,000 rounds.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was good news.
We appreciate y'all's efforts and everything that y'all have been doing over there. If we don't have any other comments, that's all we've got for tonight on Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Finance Committee. The chairman for that is Mayor Pro Tem Yaki.
Yes, I have a few items. Tonight, what we're going to do is go through the list of adopting some ordinances for the fiscal year of 2016-2017. The first one is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017, the Conference Center Fund budget. B is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 confiscated asset fund budget. C is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-27 Convention and Visitors Bureau fund budget. D is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 general fund budget. And E is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 multiple grant fund budget. F is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 public purpose corporation fund budget. G is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 rental car tax fund budget. And then H is adopt an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 sanitation fund budget. We did have a public hearing last night, and Karen Callan provided us with the entire budget that will be approved on Monday. Karen, is there anything else that you would like to comment?
I'm here for Karen Callan, Finance Director, 6695 Church Street. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer or go over anything that you're interested
Does
in.
anybody have any comments or questions?
I would just take the opportunity, Chairman Yaki, to thank the employees, Ms. Callan and your staff, Ms. Taylor, everyone involved on a great job as far as planning and the budget cycle this time. I trust it'll go just as you all have estimated, and revenues will be up and expenses down, and everything will just be lovely. But I do appreciate all your hard work. Thank you.
Yes, I think the staff did one heck of a job on putting this all together and helping you put this all together. And we will stay on track, we will stay on target, and we will end up this year with a balanced budget.
Optimistic.
If there's no other comments, then that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to item 10, which is Information and Technology Committee. That chairman is Councilman Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight. First item is to authorize the mayor to sign a master services agreement, MSA, and a Comcast Enterprise Services sales order form with Comcast Cable Communication. Got tongue twister.
It's too many. It's too many C's.
Cable Communications Management, LLC, for internet services, for Google Wi-Fi, and for telephone, cable television, and data services for West Pines Golf Course, which sounds familiar from a couple months ago, some of that. Ms. Knight, tell us what's going on.
Karen Knight, Communications Coordinator, City of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street. Yes, a couple of months ago, we signed an agreement with Comcast to provide those services out at West Pines. At the time, they were saying that the construction cost would be covered. They would not. So we said, okay, we'll cancel this contract and we'll see what else we can come up with. So the contract was up for our Google Wi-Fi, which we have with Sync Global now. And so I said, Comcast, hey, what can you do for us to give us services if we give you this internet business? And they said, well, we'll cover the construction cost at West Pines. I said, okay, that's a good deal, and we'll lower the monthly rate that you pay now for Sync Global. So from $11.50 to $9.95 a month, which is a nice little savings as well for 3 years. This is a 3-year agreement with Comcast, but it will cover internet services for the Google Wi-Fi we have now for 3 years. It'll also cover the telephone, cable services, and data services out at West Pines Golf Course.
At the same rate we had.
At the same rate that we talked about in February. We'll be saving about $27,000 in construction cost by doing this.
I like that. Anybody
So
have a problem with that?
It was a good deal.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal, because we cannot get any kind of services out to West Pines, to the golf course, to the clubhouse, without expensive construction costs. We've looked at running fiber from here to there, and it's like over $100,000 to run fiber. And it's like, that's impossible. That's never going to happen.
Right.
AT&T won't boost their coverage out there. They won't do it. So I worked out a deal with Comcast, and this is how we're going to proceed if y'all agree to this.
Any comments or questions from Mayor and Council?
So what you're saying is that if someone's on the golf course and they're wanting to use their cell phones, that they will have access to the internet?
No, that won't happen. We won't have that yet. That's another project down the road.
Okay, but inside the clubhouse? they
Inside
will.
the clubhouse, yes. Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know how far outside the
No,
clubhouse.
not outside yet. No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
Better bring your satellite phone.
Yeah. You still should have pretty good cell phone coverage, though, from
Yes, you
your
should.
carrier, whoever you've got, because of the interstate.
Any comments from the public? All right, we'll move on to the next item. Approve the purchase of an air conditioning unit for the Information Technology Server Room from Anchor Heating and Air Company at a cost not to exceed $7,336.
This item is to replace 2 portable air conditioning units we have in our server room currently. Both of those have died, for lack of a better word. They are not putting out cool air anymore. We do have a central heating or air conditioning up above it in the ceiling, of course, with the air conditioning with the city hall, but it does not put out enough cooling to cool that server room. We have a lot of equipment in there, and they use a lot of electricity, put out a lot of heat. Fans run crazy. You can hear it outside the door now. I'm sure as y'all hear all the time. So we need to put this new cooling unit in, which will be a ceiling-mounted unit to be placed up above the ceiling. It'll keep that room at a nice 65 degrees or colder, which the equipment likes.
So do I.
Did this go out for bid?
Yeah. I was about to ask that. How was this selected?
I did ask for 2 other quotes from 2 other providers. I was not able to get those quotes from those providers, so this is the one that we picked, was Anchor Heating and Air.
Who are the other providers?
One was the one down from Walmart on Rose Avenue. I can't think of the name of it now. Drawing a blank. Carrie Moody. Carrie Moody was one, and I can't remember who the second one was now. I'm sorry.
Councilman Miller, we can have, Greg Roberts was going to be here tonight as well. We can have Greg Roberts here on Monday to expound as well.
We just had issues with not providing bids, and I've had questions about how we do these bids on heat and air issues before. I just want to be clear in how we get those bids and how we accept them.
Sure thing.
Right.
I will have him contact you.
It's all about being fair to our citizens.
Correct.
Any other comments from mayor and council? Any comments from the audience? All right, going on to the next item. Authorize the mayor to sign a First Amendment to the city's service agreement with Granicus Incorporated dated May 18th, 2016 to add an additional computer program for electronic voting. Mr. Grizzle, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. My name is James Grizzle. I'm the IT director of the city of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street. In a process of going through the Granicus software, we discovered when we asked for the e-voting software to be included, it was not included originally. So this is an amendment for that to add on the e-voting software back into the contract. What we had was, by them missing this, they decided to forego the upfront costs, which is shown in here, and then discount the monthly costs, $200 a month, so we're at $300 a month for this software. So we discounted about $3,600 upfront costs and another $200 a month. So the software is going to cost us for maintenance fees for $300 a month for the duration of the contract.
Comments from mayor and council? I have a question for Ms. Littlefield. Regards to the charter and what it provides as ways that we're allowed to vote. Would this, if we did electronic voting, would it be considered a roll call vote, or would we actually have to change the wording in the charter?
You know, I'm really not sure. I don't know how the program works, and I'd be glad to look at that tomorrow and give you an answer on Monday.
Okay.
So, Councilman Siegel, so I'm asking, are you saying, would you still say aye or just push the button?
Well, I
or
think
how
the
does-
way it would work is we would have our screen here with our agenda where when somebody makes a motion, it displays the motion, and then somebody can press that they second it. I think actually to make a motion, you press it and then read it, or however that works.
You know, like at the State
Then you
House.
press a button to second it, and then it'll have the green box or the red box for everybody to vote yes or no. And then ideally, I think there would also be a display screen so
Yes.
that everyone in the audience and the clerks can see it as well, and it would show up on their computers as well.
Like at the State House? To be able
Exactly.
to see it, okay.
Exactly. So there's no question about who voted yes or
Right.
no, just by a voice vote, show of hands, or the roll call, which are the 3 things that are actually mentioned in the charter for the voting.
Thank you, sir.
I have nothing else on that, thank you. We'll move on to the next item. Authorize the mayor to sign an 18-month agreement with Interdev for the purposes of providing information technology, network engineering, and overall strategic management support for the city of Douglasville. Ms. Hampton?
Yes, sir. This item, Interdev provided an assessment for us. You have a copy of that assessment. They have offered to work with the staff over the next 18 months to provide the service to address several of the problem areas that were included in the assessment. If you want to move forward, attached to the item is their proposal. If you choose not to move forward, the next step would be to take their assessment items and either direct our staff to take management of those, or to look to another organization to handle those problem areas.
I definitely like what they're putting forward, and although it's expensive, I think it's something that we really, really need. And I'd like to hear from mayor and council, though, their opinions.
Mr. Chairman, I think that it was a comprehensive study, and it's something that will be very valuable to our staff. With that 18-month agreement with someone that's on hand, the engineer that could do onboard training, on-the-job training and enrichment, as well as get our system up to par where we need to be electronically in this age of technology that we need to catch up. I think that this company just looks phenomenal, what they're proposing.
Anyone else?
Technology is one of those things that keeps changing basically every day, and we definitely need to keep up with it, and having this type of contract and understanding where we are with our current environment, and going forward with any types of new software that we want to have. We've got to make sure we have the foundation in order to have those new softwares. And so this definitely will put us in the right direction on where we need to go in regards to our technology. So I think this is definitely well needed.
Anyone else? Any comments from the audience? You have anything to add, Mr. Grizzle?
No, he's looking forward to working with Interdev and get us on the right path.
Great. Well, I do have one final item, Madam Mayor. That's to authorize the mayor and the city clerk to cancel the city's contract of May 18th, 2016 with MCCI LLC for the city's purchase of the Just FOIA Open Records Tracking Solution computer program, and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with WebQA Incorporated for the purchase of the GovQA FOIA Applications Records Request Management and Redaction Computer Program. So I think our city clerks have done some research and found something better than what we've already agreed to.
Yes, sir. The only difference with this software than with just FOIA is that it has a redaction module on it, and that will really help us because this week alone we've gotten over 10 open records requests.
It's a lot of redacting that needs to be done.
It is.
Mr. Chairman, we just signed a contract on May the 18th of this year with MCCI, and are there any ramifications or any penalties or anything that we have to pay as far as getting out of that contract?
No, sir.
Did we ever start any implementation?
We had not taken ownership of anything,
Okay.
no install.
Okay.
So we're good.
Thank you. No harm, no foul. Thank you.
Any other comments from mayor and council? Any comments from the audience? Staff members, I want to add anything? All right, so then let's, if we may, put items A, C, D, and E on the consent agenda for Monday. And we're still looking for some information on B, so we'll actually take that up separately on Monday, if there's no objections. Okay, very well. Then, Madam Mayor, that's all I have under information technology.
Thank you so much, Chairman Siegel. We'll move on to item 11, which is Maintenance and Sanitation Committee, and the chairman for that is Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight that is A, for the city's Keep Douglasville Beautiful KDB board. reappoint John Huffstetler to the post 5 position, reappoint Julie R. Camp to the post 6 position, and reappoint Paul Lassiter to the post 8 position for 2-year terms which extend through December 31st, 2017. I believe we've interviewed. Does Mayor Council need any further information? We've interviewed these folks. These are the folks who want to be reappointed. They've done a great job so far. So,
And we got to see some tangible evidence of their actual work at the Flag Day ceremony on Tuesday.
right. So if there's no questions or concerns, comments on that, I'd like to move to place this on the consent agenda for Monday night.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I would commend you also, Chairman Miller, for your presentation for Flag Day. It was very beautiful. That was a very moving ceremony for Flag Day and the Honor Garden for the military service. Looking forward to that in Hunter Park. So thank you for your leadership in that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll move on to Transportation Committee. The Vice Chair is Councilman Samuel Davis.
Couple items. Madam Mayor, appoint as City of Douglasville representative on the Douglas County Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, 2 citizen members, and City Planning Director Michelle Wright, with said 3 reappointment being for 2 years, term which extend through January 31st, 2018. Michelle or Ms. Hampton?
Michelle Wright, Planning Director, 6695 Church Street. I believe that you have interviewed the 2 of them for reappointment. And if there's any questions, I can answer it.
We didn't get to interview you.
Pardon me?
Okay, was there any questions from the council, from the audience? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle Wright. Item B, authorize the mayor to sign constructions contract agreement with JHC Corporations in the amount of $769,934.30 for the Welcome Center Transportation Enhancement TE Grant Project PI number 001028. Michelle, thank you.
Okay, Michelle Wright, Planning Director, City of Douglasville. If you recall, I came to the meeting, City Council meeting before, presenting you the bid that we had received on this project. And it was the second time that we had bid the project out, and it was overbid. And so what we had discussed with the consultant in the meeting was that what we could do is, what we're allowed to do is to reduce the bid. We can reduce or increase a bid with GDOT by 20%, which is allowed through change orders or supplemental agreements. We had taken a look at the bid with our consultant engineer, and if you see on the page 192, they had presented a letter of the areas they felt the bid could be reduced in looking at it, and that it could, if we reduced it by 20%, it would leave the city picking up an additional $15,947.44 over the budget. I did put in here the contract, and Susan Littlefield had some concerns about the contract. I don't know if you wish to address those concerns. And then we did receive some information just actually before I came to the meeting, an email with information from GDOT. And I don't know if you want to address.
I'm concerned that we don't want to be stuck in a contract that where we have to pay full price if that's not our intention. But the consultant has advised Michelle that we can modify the form contract that DOT has given us for this to add some language, and I've submitted some for the consultant to look at to add it to the DOT contract that would give us the option to dictate a decrease in the scope of work so that we could do that without the consent of the contractor.
So we would be allowed to basically alter the DOT's contract form if your request is approved?
I question that too, but I believe that's the information we're getting from the consultant.
Well, I believe what Ms. Littlefield was stating was that she wanted to put a page in there that stated.
No, ma'am, I want to put it on the contract page that's existing.
Okay. And so I will have to get back with GDOT on that. And then additionally, I did receive an email today from GDOT stating their, the authority for making the changes, which was 104.03, and I did not have time to get that to you, but it stated under Section D that the engineer may increase or decrease the quantities of any and all other pay items without changing the unit prices bid, provided that the sum total of such changes, exclusive of changes in those items covered in subsection 104.03C, does not increase or decrease the original contract amount by more than 20%. And it did also state in there a variety of other things, and I could provide that information to you on Monday. The email from our project manager at GDOT. But I understand Ms. Littlefield's concerns. We are going to be signing a contract for more than what GDOT is giving us. GDOT's giving us $600,000. The contract's $179,000, and then we're going to be going in and doing change orders to reduce that contract.
I'm confused.
Would that then not potentially obligate us to the retail value of the contract if we could not come to terms with the contractor on a reduction of up to 20%?
Well, the thing is that the language I'm suggesting has at the end, without the consent of the contractor.
I'm sorry?
What I'm suggesting is a phrase that says that we can reduce the scope of work without the consent of the contractor, but not more than 20%.
So the contractor comes in and bids, he's the only bidder. You sign a contract for $769,000, and during the course of the schedule and the course of the implementation of the contract, you decide you want to reduce it by 20%, and you can reduce it without his consent.
Well,
That's
according
what the consultant told us we could do.
According to GDOT, it says that the engineer has.
Well, I guess, Ms. Wright, I'm not really concerned about the engineer at the moment. I'm concerned about the contractor. Because from that standpoint, he has a schedule, a scope, materials, labor, everything lined up and going. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to pull back 20%. And that 20% may be a very vital part of what he's already had planned. I just don't know how that's going to work, and I don't know that I'm comfortable obligating the city to a retail contract and then us go back and renegotiate after the fact. I think that's what Ms. Littlefield's concern is, and I share that sentiment.
The contractor has viewed our meetings.
Okay.
And what we're doing. Okay,
and I think you and I talked about that a little bit in passing the other day, and he's willing to do that?
He understands that the city is receiving $600,000. We're not allowed to negotiate with the contractor till after he signs the contract.
After he or we?
After we sign the contract with the contractor. Then we can go in and we're allowed to do change orders or any supplemental agreements.
So again, and this is an old cliche of mine, I guess then we're value engineering the project. Thank you.
And then I'm not certain if the council relegates me to sign the contract. I don't understand why I would sign a $769,934.30 contract, and then the contractor say, you're signing it for that. They're expecting to get that, although that provision says 20% decrease or increase. They can say increase from the 769, and you've signed for 769, so now it's 20% more. So I'm not certain, just like Councilman Adams has said, if they have a schedule and they have things that are already on target for that amount beyond 600,000 that the grant is for. I'm just not understanding, if you sign for a certain amount, how come you will be obligated for that amount?
I understand your concerns, and I think there is a risk involved. However, that we have, the city actually has done change orders or increase or decrease. We had a contract come in on a project, and the contract came in under, and there were some additional items that we wanted to do, so we did increase on one of ours through change orders and added additional items to it. So it does happen, and I know it's hard to understand. You're kind of working in the GDOT world, and you are allowed to do that. So you are allowed to increase or decrease, and to look at your quantities and things like that.
And the contractor understands that the 20%.
The contractor is well aware
Increase.
of what, yes, of what we've been discussing with you.
Mayor, may I add a comment? I'm sensing probably the overwhelming majority of uncomfortability with you all having the mayor sign that. I think probably what we may want to do, and Michelle, it may be having the consultant come in to talk about what our options really are. I think it's probably a lot to ask, even though we know we've been able to negotiate back and forth in the past with change orders, but I think we may want to have the consultant come in and talk to mayor and council and kind of talk this through about other options, specifically knowing we bid it out a couple times and then the costs continue to come in higher, so that may be the next option for us.
Yeah, because
Well,
we're
I'm not sure
about
that,
$150,000 here is what we're talking about.
yes,
difference.
I'm not sure that we'll be allowed to continue any longer with GDOT on this project.
Even if they can come in on Monday and talk to mayor and council?
What I'm saying is, if we don't sign this contract and you want it rebid, and if we don't do this.
We're not saying rebidding, we just want to
Yeah.
have an understanding. We understand that construction cost is up and all of that. We just would like an explanation.
Yeah, I have asked the consultant to come here on Monday. I can
Okay.
ask the engineer too, if you'd like. But I do understand your concerns with this. I mean, it is a process that's,
We can have them at your 5 o'clock meeting on Monday.
yeah, okay.
And would you also be able to give us exactly what the 20% would include, what we're going to reduce the whole project?
I did include the letter on page 192 that we had brought to you of where we were going to reduce the 20%. Now, the contractor had stated that he was going to get some firmer numbers, and that on some of the items, he put it up high to cover himself. So there may be a little bit of buffer there. So as far as some of his numbers are going.
Because if we reduce this by, like 20%, we're talking about the project to be like $650,000.
It would be $615,947.44. I did put in $16,000 under the agenda item just to round it up in next year's budget for us. Okay. But, keeping in mind that this is, as Susan Littlefield stated, she didn't feel comfortable with it in the contract and what we were doing. So I don't want to, I want to let you know exactly what we're doing.
It's a lot of money, and we don't want to lose it either. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to work through this little process here,
Well,
making sure that.
And things are coming in high in the area. I'm working now on lighting and banners phase 2, and we're going to have to make budget cuts there too because of, the way the concrete and everything is coming in. So.
Right. Probably with all the construction going on, with all the new stadiums that are being built and highways that are being built, this is why the costs are going up.
And it's not just us. We're hearing it from all the consultants and all the different projects in the region.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more discussion? We good? Michelle, could you Madam Mayor, I would like to put this back on the agenda for Monday for further discussion, item B.
Yes, sir.
And if you will, Michelle, ask to come in on Monday. But item A, I would like to put this on the consent agenda, the Biosystem Protection Advisory Committee. I'd like to put that on consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
Okay, make a motion, we adjourn.
No, we're not.
That's you don't have any
That's all
more.
I have, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you for transportation. We'll move on to Personnel and Organization Committee. The chairman for that committee is Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
We have
welcome.
2 items tonight under Personnel and Organization Committee. First is A, to nominate and appoint 2 additional city elected officials to serve as members of the city's pension committee as required by the city defined benefit pension plan. Ms. Alston, you were going to explain that to us.
Tia Alston, Human Resources, City of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street. As Councilman Miller stated, we are required as a city to have our pension committee at capacity. We currently have 2 vacant seats on the committee. Right now, we have Council Member LaShawn Danley is currently on the committee, City Manager Marsha Hampton, City Clerk Vicky Acker, and our Finance Director Karen Callan, and our police chief, and then also myself serving as the committee's secretary. As of January 1, we incurred 2 vacancies, so the mayor is prepared to make our nominations for the 2 vacant seats tonight.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, and the 2 vacancies would be for Councilman Miller, and who else did I say? Councilman Yaki. Oh, Councilman Davis, I apologize. I had Mr. Yaki for something else. This is a senior moment is coming. So Councilman Davis and Councilman Miller to serve on the pension.
Okay.
Yes. Who accept? Or what are we going to, are we vote? What do we do? Okay.
Vote on Monday. So but this wouldn't be appropriate to put on the consent agenda. We actually need to vote on it. So, okay. Any questions or comments regarding item A? All right, moving on to item B. Adopt an ordinance to repeal and rescind ordinance. I think that's an O dash 2016-6 enacted April 4th, 2016, an ordinance and adoption agreement for a defined benefit retirement plan and general addendum with the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System, modifying the benefit calculation multiplier, and enact a restated and corrected ordinance and adoption agreement for a defined benefit retirement plan and general addendum with the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System concerning the same subject.
Yes.
Can you explain that to us, Ms. Alston?
Absolutely.
Please do.
Mayor and Council, if you recall back in March of this year, you voted to change the retirement multiplier from 1.5 to 1.75 for all employees, so current and new employees. When we received the master plan back from GMA, the verbiage was not correct. It only included current employees and not new employees. So they redrafted the document that we have here tonight with the revision to include current and all employees on the 1.75 multiplier. So it was a grammatical error, but they have since corrected that. So,
any questions or comments regarding this? With us voting on this before and voting to correct it, I would like to have this placed upon the consent agenda for Monday night. And Madam Mayor, that's all we have tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I would like to, at the end of the meeting, if we could recess into an executive session to review an executive session item, a human resource item. I would like to
I'll have
ask for that. Request that at this time.
Yes, sir. At this time, you don't want to go to the last committee?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't understand.
We have one more ordinance and intergovernmental committee.
I didn't mean to motion for that now, just ask before the
We'll
end
need
of
it to do it, yes, sir.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think it was on the agenda, so I just wanted to
Sure, we had a
forget it
recess
myself.
for personnel issue. Okay, thank you so much. We'll move on to ordinance and intergovernmental committee, and the chairman, vice chair for that is Councilman Miller.
Okay, we have one item tonight, Madam Mayor, that is A, appoint Rochelle Robinson to be designated to cast the city's vote at the Georgia Municipal Association business meeting in Savannah on Monday, June 26th.
Yes, sir. Each year, you do appoint a designee for the annual convention meeting, and it's typically always been the mayor who's done that. So we have put this item on so we can pass her name off as the designee.
I would like to add something. We've always had a flag bearer, and the last 2 years, with me being the rookie city councilman, I've been the flag bearer. So I would take nominations for a new flag bearer this year.
I've already appointed a flag bearer.
Where I got one.
It's Councilman Watts.
Awesome.
The junior. And then next year, it's going to be Councilman Siegel. I flipped a coin.
Very good. Thank you. That's all we have.
They have
Madam Mayor.
agreed.
We have an agreement with them. Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You don't have to sign anything.
You don't have to.
Okay, we'll go on to Education and Training Committee, and the chairman for that is Councilman Davis.
Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other business to come before the body? I would like to make an announcement that the city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton, has been nominated to serve on this GMES, which is, let me get that, Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System Board for the state of Georgia, and she will be ratified at the annual conference in Savannah. So we just congratulate you to represent the city of Douglasville, but of course you'll be looking at employee benefits and pensions and retirement throughout the state for elected officials and employees. So we're really proud of you. Just give her a hand. It's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She'll also be one person on one of those boards that will give a panel discussion. So we're very proud of our city manager. We'll move on to City Attorney, Mr. Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Deputy Chief of Police. No business. Thank you, Ms. Shaw. City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
No, ma'am, no business.
Thank you. Comments from citizens and delegates. This is the opportunity for citizens and delegates. If you'd like to address the council, now's your time to come forward. If you filled out a form to hand to the city clerk, please, if you would at this time, come and give your name and address for the record, and you're open to give comments to the mayor and council.
Yes, my name is Kokai Alushla. I'm a resident of the Slater Mill community, and since the last time you see me, I've just been elected the president of Slater Mill. The matter that I was going to bring at hand, I got a last-minute, call from my CEO, the Atlanta Business Journal, that he received some communication from Jonathan Lynn. He's your, oh, that's you. Okay, Jonathan Lynn, and that the matter that we're considering about a service that we provided and an invoice, he's going to try to expedite that situation. So I'm glad to see that the two of them will be getting together tomorrow to discuss this issue, and hopefully we can resolve it so we can move on. The Atlanta Business Journal, been around for about 25 years, and we have impacted the whole state of Georgia. This year, we have 3 major events that will be going on this summer. We network with a lot of the area churches. We have an event for seniors called the Boomers Expo. It's like a one-stop event where individuals or seniors can get their health taken care of, any type of leisure activities. We have doctors from the Morehouse School of Medicine that stop through. So far, we have committed World Changes Church, which is a mega church. Elizabeth Baptist is another big church. They're going to have events at their particular church. And the way the event works is it's going to tie into the event in October, which will be the Boomers Expo. All the churches will be bringing their seniors. from their congregation and get an opportunity. It's a free event for the seniors to engage in not only social and health activities, Kaiser Permanente, Northside Hospital, get free screenings, prostate, and all this kind of stuff. So we hope to continue to work with the city of Douglasville in areas like that to partnership and do events that can, help bring some of the other communities within Douglasville, to a great event. Like I said, we're doing that during the summer. Then we have the Gospel Choice Awards. This is our 23rd year doing that. We honor the area minister pastors. Each year we honor 10 pastors, and then we honor the choirs and most of the churches in the areas. We had served over 250 churches, big and small, all the way down to Macon and Savannah. So we're very accustomed to the state of Georgia doing business and doing events that bring value to the communities in which we serve. I noticed, you're approving your budgets this year. Hopefully, in the near future, we can look at partnershiping together and working on some events that will bring some added value to the city of Douglasville. And that's all I have to say, and hopefully this meeting will turn out great tomorrow, and I thank you for responding to us.
Thank you, Mr. Wajawal. We appreciate your time and coming to the city and trusting us with your matter with the Slater Merrill subdivision. Are there any other comments or questions from the audience? If not, I'll make a motion to recess into executive session to discuss. Oh, I apologize. Staff reports.
First.
Apologize. A staff report concerning the county's request to install a monument sign in the medium along Durley Lane. And Ms. Hampton?
Well, within the last 24 hours, the county has gone ahead and erected the sign in the middle of the median. So I was going to report that the attorneys were going to help us to figure out how to make this possible legally for them to do that, but the sign's already up. So I didn't hear any complaints or concerns from any of you. I did get a call from County Administrator Mark Till today apologizing profusely, saying that he had not authorized his folks to go and put up the sign, but it is up nonetheless. So my assumption is that you all don't have any issue with it. If you do, I guess I will be calling him back to say that he needs to take down the sign. And I guess at this point, Ms. Littlefield, since it's already up,
well, if it's contrary to our ordinances, and I think it may very well be, let me look at it and see if we need to grant them some sort of variance to at least show on the record that we've considered it.
Yes.
I'll do that.
Okay. If you all are comfortable with Ms. Littlefield granting a variance to the county to keep their sign up, that's the direction we will proceed.
And this is for their transportation, the Greta buses that go into the city of Atlanta and that whole hub?
Actually, Madam Mayor, from my understanding from the county administrator, they have a plan to do several monument signs.
Oh.
This is to enter into the complex there off of Durley Lane, which is where they see the county growing in that area, the county administration going in that area. Yes.
Thank you so much.
So she'll bring that back to us? Is that what you're going to do?
The variance.
I will come back to you. I'm not sure I'll be ready by Monday, but I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any staff reports? Okay, I apologize. So now I make a motion to recess into an executive session. Oh, adjourning into executive session.
I don't anticipate any further action. I just want to update, so I think an adjournment would be fine.
Okay. I'm making a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll make the
Please
motion.
state the purpose and your motion.
For the purpose of discussing a personnel matter. Thank you. Okay, there have been a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. We're going to executive session.